Hello. Whoa. Hmm. Maybe gonna adjust this slightly. Hello and welcome to the Nerdy Photographer Live. What's our goal going to be for today? All right, folks. I'm here to answer your photography related questions. And I have a few Q&A questions here. We're going to start with the first one. Hi. Is there a cheap camera to take some photos when I'm out? I'm not a photographer, nor do I want a huge professional camera. I just take photos with my phone when I find something nice. Suggestions appreciated. Thanks in advance. Well, my answer to that is it all really depends on what you really want to take pictures of. Um, I would recommend picking up they're very popular right now, especially with like Gen Z and younger millennials. Digital point and shoot cameras will give you maybe a little higher quality image than your phone would give you. Your phone is you can take pictures with your phone. I'm going to put together a series of images or videos that we're going to discuss how to take better phone photos for people who just that aren't interested in buying a new camera. They just want to use their phone. We can get into phone photography. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. As far as cheap cameras, I mean, what do you want to get out of this? I did a review of the Camp Snap screenless digital camera. The image quality is not super high. It's I think maybe less than it's an 8 megapixel camera, and but it gives you an experience of like not having to worry about a screen, settings, anything like that. I would say if you're looking for cheap, and that camera is $60 to $70. If you're looking to spend maybe just a few $100 on a camera, a finding yourself a an older digital point and shoot would be just fine if you're not looking for something complicated. All right, next question. What time of day do you guys shoot at and why? Um, I try to shoot if I'm doing a shoot outdoors. I try to do that shoot either early in the morning, like like after sunrise, or closer to sunset within like a couple hours of sunset, getting closer to sunset, because the light is a lot more complementary. If I don't want to set up a whole bunch of lighting gear, I just want to kind of go with it. I will shoot it in the early morning. Sun's lower. You're not getting the harsh shadows of having the sun overhead. Obviously, you can combat that if it's you have to shoot in the middle of the day when the sun is like more directly overhead and like the light is very harsh. It can cause shadows under the eyes and things like that. There are ways to overcome that, but it's more work. And if you want to shoot natural light, you can do that. You get diffusers to put over your subject and reflectors and things like that to create better light, shape the light that is on your subject. Uh, but if I was given my choice and I had to do a shoot outdoors, like I said, it would be closer to just because the light's more complimentary and I don't have to set up as much stuff. But that's just my personal feelings on that. If you have a question, feel free to drop it in the chat or a topic, photography related topic that you would like to discuss. Otherwise, I'm just going to go through a few more of the questions that I have on hand. All right, here's my next one. I just finished my first professional photography job. It was a wedding. I'm just finishing touching up the photos, and I wanted to ask, how do you guys share photos with your clients? How much touching up is too much? Thank you for any insight. Okay, so after I have photographed the wedding, this is another video I think I should probably put out there about. workflow and how the workflow goes. How much touching up is too much is really a matter of personal taste. I try to keep things as light as possible, and it's took me a while to develop a light touch so that the photos still looked realistic and like real life. I don't want things to look. I'm not a as far as my wedding photos go, I am not a bright and airy or dark and moody photographer. Either of those. Um, I feel that those can start to look more like somebody just there are some wonderful photographers in each of those camps. I'm not going to say anything negative about them. For me, I want my clients to be able to look at their photos 20 years later and not think, "Oh man, I was like these are so 2025." They look at that was the trend in 2025. I want the photos to be as timeless as possible. And so I've developed kind of like a light touch. Since authenticity is really important for me and for my clients, I make things pop just slightly, um, a little more saturate, little touch of more of saturation and contrast. And I've developed my secret sauce over the years. Um, but other than that, not not too much. I feel like if you can easily go overboard. As far as how I deliver photos, I use a service called PickTime, which is fantastic. Yes, it costs a little bit of money. I think they're, you know, mm, monthly if you pay for it. But if you're doing weddings and you're delivering your images to your clients, you want to have a quality way of delivering the images. Don't People don't use USB drives anymore, um, or when I started out, we were delivering digital images via CD, and then went up to DVDs, and then people were using USB drives or other hard drives, and now it's cloud delivery. I highly recommend the delivery for a couple of reasons. If you're running a business, this is part of your business expense to have the space online for someone to deliver the images to your clients, and you can leave them up there for whatever you decide what's best for you. I am paying for unlimited space, and I've told my clients it's going their photos will be there for at least a year, and I recommend that they download them and back them up on their computers as soon as possible, but that is the photos are online as well. And they will be online indefinitely, and I will notify everyone if I'm planning to shut them down and give them plenty of time to uh, download their images in the future. Again, system I use is PicTime. That's PIC. You can go to nerdyphotographer.com/recommends/PicTime, um, and you get a little discount. I think get a free month trial, and I think a slight discount uh, on your service there. But it allows for you can set up your own um, print gallery for your images. You can use your images for blog posts. You can embed you can choose which photos you want to embed in your blog, things like that. You can set up art galleries of your photos and sell like art prints. There's a lot. It has a lot going for it, and it's a great way to continue to make sales after the event is over. And you can pick time. Highly recommend it. Go to nerdyphotographer.com. Go to the resources. You can find it in there as well. All right. Next question. If anybody has a question, feel free to put it in the chat, and I will respond to it. How do I protect my photos? Hello. I just started my photography journey, and I was wondering, how do I protect the photos I post on social media from being copied? Well, there are services. If you're just starting out, it might be too expensive, but there are services that can embed things into your images that will muck up AI if AI tries to read them in any way. There are other. let's see. You can put a watermark on it. A lot of people saying, like, oh, I don't want to put a watermark on it. People can remove a watermark if they know, um, if they know Photoshop at all. Yeah, it's become far too easy to remove watermarks. Um, Personally, I don't post anything high resolution to social media, so that I can. People might choose to uh, try to copy it. People can screenshot things, even if you like the number. If as soon as you're putting it on social media, there are so many ways that people can copy your image, which is really unfortunate. Um, so, my recommendations are that you commonly there are services also that you can set up to scan the internet for your images, so that you can find if anybody is using them, illegally. You can send a cease and desist or whatever into the DMCA act and get their images taken down, or tell another social media account that the social media just stealing of images is crazy. There's a photographer in New York. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but I follow him on uh, Threads, and he's just constantly, he's got like 50 or 60,000 followers, and people just like constantly steal his images. They're like he puts like 3 or 4 watermarks on each one, and they'll just repost them with his watermarks in them, and people will message him and ask him, can you remove your watermark from this image so that I can post it on my account?" Like, no qualms whatsoever about just saying, like, "I just want to steal your work. Can you please take your name off of it?" And these big aggregator accounts that they're like, "Oh, we want this picture of New York City that he took, and we'll just steal it." Yeah, I mean, it's really hard. People will always try to find an end around way to steal your images. Unfortunately, there's not a lot that you can do to stop that. And all right, last question that I have here on my list. I just got paid $140 for my first photography and videography gig. How would you suggest I spend my $140? Well, I would suggest you don't spend it all in one place. Um, Save it, get ready to invest it in, equipment, advertising, whatever it is that's going to help you get the next job. Um, in photography and videography, my guess is you probably should be charging more than $140. That is my advice to you, is me raise your up. All right. Um, if anybody has any questions, any photography, camera related questions they want to ask, I'm happy to answer them, or any topics they'd like to discuss. Otherwise, I'm going to close it down in about a minute and a half here. We'll get to 15 minutes if nobody has any questions. Yeah, so my name is Casey Fatchett. I am the host of the Nerdy Photographer podcast. Every other week, there's an episode where I interview amazing photographers from around the world. And we talk about their journeys, their advice that they have for photographers who are in their genre, whatever in general. There's lots to learn. So go check it out at nerdyphotographer.com/podcast. Subscribe here on YouTube on my account. You can subscribe there, or if you listen on a different podcast platform, just go to nerdyphotographer.com/podcast, or look up Nerdy Photographer Podcast on your preferred podcast platform, and you'll find it there. And that's all for today. Have a wonderful and pleasant evening.